Rachel had been dreaming of becoming a famous actress. Finally, her dream was about to come true. A famed talent agency had invited Rachel for an interview. She arrived at the office to meet her new agent early in the morning. There were 4 people in the conference room. Can you tell which one is Rachel's agent? This guy is the only person who doesn't have an employee badge, so he's probably a guest. This man is wearing a classy, expensive suit, but he brought coffee for everyone, so he's an assistant. This lady's mug says "World's Best Lawyer," so she's probably responsible for legal issues. And this relaxed lady over there is Rachel's agent, Zoe. Zoe offered Rachel to take a seat. Which place should Rachel choose? This chair is missing one leg. Someone has spilled coffee on this chair. The barista has written "The Boss" on the drink in this cup and left it on the table next to this chair. And someone has left a sweater on this chair. So, Rachel has only one option, and here it is. First of all, Zoe decided to check how smart Rachel was and offered her this puzzle. She used 3 pencils to make this triangle. Rachel's task was to create a perfect square by moving just 1 pencil. Can you help her? Here's the answer. After the meeting, Zoe unboxed a delivery from a popular writer. He sent Zoe his new masterpiece in secret. Zoe didn't say anything about this to her colleagues, but one of them was actually trying to steal the script. Can you guess who this person is? It's the assistant. He's using his front camera to take pictures of the mirrored ceiling while Zoe is looking through the script. Zoe brought Rachel to her first audition. Rachel joined other actresses in a line. They were all competing for the lead role in a new series. The main character had poor eyesight, so all actresses put on fake glasses to get into character. Rachel didn't do well enough, and another actress, Sally, got the job. Rachel was very upset. But suddenly, Sally fell to the floor. She was unconscious, and Rachel called an ambulance. Doctors said that someone had poisoned Sally, but all the actresses ate the same snacks and drank the same water. Doctors checked the food, and it was fine. Can you guess what happened there? This actress gave Sally a wet wipe to clean her glasses. The wipe was poisoned. The next day, Rachel arrived at a theater to meet Stan. He was a famous director. She noticed 5 weird things about this place right away. What about you? Can you see them too? Something's wrong with the gravity. In particular, with this chandelier that isn't hanging from the ceiling as it should. The wind that the fan creates is blowing to the right, but this actress's hair is flowing to the left. There are human footsteps on the ceiling. The spotlights are red, but the lighting on the stage is blue. And this ballerina's shadow is falling in the wrong direction. Stan introduced Rachel to his favorite actors, Josh, Steven, and Tyler. They were triplets that always joked around. But this time, they agreed that one of them would tell the truth, and the other 2 would lie. They told Rachel about their game. She had to guess their names. The first guy said that he was Josh. The second introduced himself as Steven, and the third guy said, "The second person always tells the truth." Can you figure out who is who? If the third guy is telling the truth, then so is the second. But only one brother was supposed to be honest. So the third guy must be lying. This means the second brother is lying too. So then, the first guy must be telling the truth. He is Josh. The second guy is neither Josh nor Steven. He's Tyler. And the third brother is Steven. Stan offered Rachel to play a princess in his new production. Rachel went to the dressing room to apply makeup. Suddenly, she heard a scream. Rachel ran out of the room and saw the main star of the play on the stage covered in paint. Rachel questioned the suspects. Ron, an assistant, claimed that he'd been eating his sandwich on the balcony when it happened. Lily, a stylist, was on the phone with her husband. And Stacy, a cleaner, said she'd been cleaning the bathroom at that moment. Who's guilty? Ron. He's holding a sandwich, and it's still unwrapped. Now that Rachel got a job, she needed a place to stay in Hollywood. She started looking for an apartment and went to 3 agencies. Each agency showed her one apartment. Rachel liked them all, but when she examined the apartments, she realized that there were scammers among the realtors. Rachel looked at the documents attentively. Which apartment should she choose? Rachel chose the third option. The first apartment is on the 6th floor. But that's impossible because the building only has 5 floors. And according to the description of the second apartment, its construction will be finished in 2025. This is 2022, by the way. But Rachel needs an apartment immediately. Rachel rented the third apartment and moved in right away. But something was wrong with the bathroom there. Can you see it? How is she supposed to flush? Can you see anything weird here? There's no shower drain. Rachel heard the doorbell ring. Her neighbors, Peter and Victor, brought her 2 cakes, but only one of them was edible. Can you tell which one? Victor's cake is sprinkled with almond flakes, while Peter's cake is decorated with human nails. The next day, Zoe texted Rachel to check how she was doing. Rachel sent her this selfie and said, "Alone at home, learning my lines." Zoe sent Rachel this reply, "What a liar you are." Why? If Rachel's alone, who's that guy? Zoe took Rachel to a party and introduced her to Nick, an eccentric billionaire who was financing one of Zoe's movie projects. They had a brief conversation, and then Rachel lost him in the crowd. In a while, Rachel noticed 3 guys facing away from her. Each of them looked exactly like Nick. Can you tell who the real Nick is? This guy has a tattoo on his hand, while Nick didn't have it. And this guy's suit is fake. They wrote the brand name with a mistake. Nick offered for Rachel to sing karaoke. The girls sang a song, and Nick liked it so much that he offered her a suitcase full of gold. But he wouldn't reward just anyone. Only smart people deserved his money. To get the gold, Rachel had to crack a riddle. Nick showed her 4 rare coins. He said there was something wrong with 3 of them. Can you figure out which coin is real? People who lived at that time didn't call their era BCE. This coin is from the future. Take a look at the date. There weren't cars in 1365. So here's the only real coin. Rachel used an app to call a taxi to take her precious suitcase home. She saw 3 identical cars in the parking lot. Each of the 3 drivers claimed that Rachel had ordered their car. Which driver should Rachel choose? The third one. Take a look at the first taxi. There's a creepy guy hiding in the back seat, and the second car is missing a wheel. Zoe was having a party at her villa. She noticed that her son, Harry, was eating in his room with some lady. But Zoe didn't know who she was. The woman got very curious. So, after they left, she sneaked into her son's room to find some hints. There were 3 girls at her party: Lily, Jennifer, and Diana. Zoe immediately guessed who was with her son. What about you? Harry is dating Jennifer. Look at the dishes on the table. There's a lipstick stain on the fork. Jennifer is the only girl wearing red lipstick. In the morning, Rachel went for a run in the park. On her way there, she met this woman. And a minute later, she saw another woman, absolutely the same. Rachel thought it was extremely bizarre. But, in reality, there were 5 differences between these 2 ladies. Can you see them? Here they are. Rachel continued her run and saw these 2 guys on a boat in the river. And a couple of minutes later, she noticed these fishermen. Can you spot any differences? There are 5 differences between these 2 pictures. Have you found them all? Rachel stopped because she needed to tie her shoelaces. Suddenly, she saw these 2 women with backpacks. Can you spot 5 differences between them? Right, here they are. Rachel arrived at her apartment building and found her neighbor, Peter, unconscious at the bottom of the stairs. The scene in front of her eyes was so awful that Rachel fainted, and the concierge carried her home. In the evening, after her nap, Rachel left her apartment. And guess what? In the lobby, she came across Peter again. But this time, he was energetic and happy. He was also drinking some juice. How did he survive? Look, he's a vampire! In the morning, Zoe called Rachel and asked her to come to the agency immediately. When Rachel saw the office, she was shocked. It was a mess. Someone had stained the walls with paint, and broken furniture and torn documents were everywhere. Zoe questioned 3 suspects. Dan, an assistant, said that he'd been partying all night. Many people could confirm that. Jessica, a lawyer, said, "Who do you think I am? I love my job. Otherwise, I would have already quit." And Sarah, a copywriter, said that she'd been the last one to leave the office. And she had locked the door, that's for sure. Who's lying? Jessica. All the mugs are broken, except for hers. World's best lawyer. The woman wanted to get rid of some documents, so she faked a robbery.
I have some more riddles for you today. Let's start with the easy ones for a warm-up. Can you find the odd one out? Yep, here it is. Here's another one. Find an odd one out here then. Perfect, here it is. How about this one? Right here. Did you find it? And it's getting harder. What about the odd one out here? Look, it's this one. All the other hands are the right ones, and this one is the only left hand. Now I'll show you 2 pictures. Your task is to find 5 differences between them. Ready? Here they are. How many did you spot? Let's do it one more time. Find 5 differences here. Keep your eyes wide open. So did you manage to do it? I think you're now prepared for more hardcore tasks. Let's start with decoding. Detective Callum has been searching for a missing girl, Riley, for 3 weeks. He was in his office going through the case for the 100th time when he got an anonymous email saying, "Can you guess what's written here?" It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "The girl is in a hidden room beneath the Central Cafe. Bring $500 and I will tell you the passcode." Someone robbed a bank, and Detective Callum was leading the investigation. There were 2 robbers, but the police managed to catch only one of them, Dante. Dante refused to name his accomplice, but the police had 3 suspects, Bree, Ivory, and Ronan. Detective Callum took a brief look at them and knew exactly who the second robber was. Who was it, and how did he know? It's Ivory. Look, she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist as Dante. Holland went to work and asked her boyfriend, Kyler, to walk the dog. Kyler agreed, but then his friend called him and suggested to come over to play a new video game. So, Kyler decided to skip the dog walk and went straight to his friends. Holland and he met right outside the house when they were both going back home. Kyler said that he'd walked the dog and then went to play with his friend. But Holland knew that he was lying. How? It's winter, so just look at the footprints. There are Holland's footprints on the snow going both ways, and Kyler's footprints going both ways too, but there are no footprints of the dog. Someone in a little town was stealing bicycles. Every time someone's bike was stolen, the owner would find a business card with 2 emojis printed on it. The police had 3 main suspects, Ocean Walker, Rebecca Smith, and Damian Jones. Who is the robber? The emojis signify the name. They are a wave and a person walking, so the robber must be Mr. Ocean Walker. On Wednesday, after a break, Nash came to his desk and found a short love note written in red ink. It wasn't signed, but Nash had 3 girls in mind, so he asked each of them if she had written him the note. Layla said that she'd been chatting with her friends and didn't write any notes. Dawn said that she was busy all break finishing her homework. Oakley said that she had been in the bathroom and had just come back. Who do you think wrote the note? Look, Oakley's hands are covered in ink. It's blue ink, but still. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Adley was kidnapped and woke up in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but they all looked dangerous. Behind one door, there were many little robots that were ready to attack her. Behind the second door, there were 3 trained tigers. Behind the third door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Which way should Adley choose to get out safely? The best choice must be the first door. Although they're robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause her much harm. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone had stolen all the money from the cashier's desk. A cook said that he was working in the kitchen and didn't have any free time. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't see anything. The waiter said that there was a suspicious visitor peeking around. Who do you think stole the money? The restaurant was still closed and there couldn't be any visitors, so the waiter must have lied and is probably guilty. Ned works in a club. and his job is to check people's ID cards and not to let suspicious people or folks under 21 in. Take a look at ID cards and help him decide if he can let each visitor in or not. Here's the first one. What do you think? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, here's the next visitor. What do you say? June 31st does not exist. There are just 30 days in June, so nope. What about this guy? Something is wrong once again. Even though February 29th theoretically exists, there was no February 29th in 1977. It's every year that can be divided by 4. Okay, what do you think about this girl? I don't see anything suspicious about her. Here's another candidate for the club. What do you think? Well, he is 22, and he seems fine to me. Let him in. A student was having an oral chemistry exam and was struggling with his last task. His professor decided to help him and have some fun, so he said that instead of the task, the student could guess his daughter's name. He only had one guess, but there was a hint. He wrote down several numbers: 32, 10, 14, 16. What's the professor's daughter's name? It's a chemistry class and chemistry professor, so there must be something related to chemistry. Look, there's even a periodic table in the background to help you. The 32nd element is germanium, or Ge, and the 10th one is neon, or Ne, and the 14th one is silicon, or Si, and finally, the 16th element is sulfur, or S. Together, they form the name Genesis. A bank was robbed, but they couldn't find the robber. A week later, at night, Detective Callum woke up from a call from a local shop's owner. He said that he found the money under his terrace. Detective Callum arrived, but there was only half of the money stolen. The man said that he had seen a man by his shop a week ago. It was a full moon, so he could see that the man had red hair and was wearing a dark hoodie. Still, the shop owner was arrested. Why? The shop owner said it was a full moon a week ago, but look, it's a full moon right now, so the man must be lying about something. In history class, students were asked to prepare a presentation about their ancestors. Edwin told about his great-great-grandpa who moved to New York and started as a salesman and then built a huge business. He even showed a photograph of his young grandpa in New York, but no one believed Edwin's story. Why? Even though the picture is black and white and looks old, old New York looks very much like modern New York, with dozens of skyscrapers. The class noticed and figured out that it definitely wasn't a real photo. Royce called the police and reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Royce to tell exactly what happened. Royce said that he had walked into his room and saw someone getting out of the window. It was still open because Royce didn't care to close it or touch anything before the police arrived. He checked his wardrobe and found that his savings had been stolen. Detective Callum closed the case. Why? The robber couldn't go out the window without stepping on the bed, but the bed is perfectly made, so it looks like no one was leaving through the window. Kaya was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the desk. When she returned, she found that her wallet had been stolen. She called the police and they interrogated the 3 students who were also in the library. Andre said that he had left the library right after Kaya to get a drink from the vending machine and hadn't touched any of her things. Poppy said that she was studying the whole time and not paying attention to anything. Rhea said that she was in the other part of the library looking for a book she needed and hadn't seen anything suspicious either. Who stole the wallet? It was Andre. He said that he had left to get a drink in a vending machine, but look, there's no drinks in the vending machine, only snacks. A young man named Colton was living with his best friend Cassidy. One morning, he called the police because Cassidy wasn't breathing. He said that he'd been working all day and had returned home late, so he hadn't seen her or talked to her for over a day. In the morning, he found her in bed like that. Last night, Cassidy had a headache and had to take many pills, so maybe that was the reason. Colton was immediately arrested. Why? Colton obviously didn't communicate with Cassidy, but he still somehow knew what she was doing in the evening. He must have come up with all of it, as he is probably guilty. Henry and Mia lived together in New York. They wanted to run away from big city life and celebrate their anniversary in the wild. So the guys used a special online service and found 3 available options nearby. Bob offered his cozy treehouse in the woods for a reasonable price. Julia offered this fancy geodesic dome with all conveniences. It's a 2-hour drive away from New York, and Crystal offered an old mansion that she'd inherited from her granny. Can you help the guys make the right choice? Take a closer look at the picture of the dome. It's located near the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which means this property is in Italy, and it can't be 2 hours away from New York. And Crystal's granny's ghost is still in the house, so Mia and Henry should choose the treehouse. The guys contacted Bob, booked the house, and hit the road. Mia is a famous blogger, so she decided to post all milestones of their journey in her stories. Can you spot any differences between these 2 pictures? Here they are. What about these 2 pictures? There are 3 differences. What can you say about these 2? Can you see 3 differences? Here they are. While the guys were driving along a highway, someone threw a can of paint into their car. Mia and Henry stopped at the nearest car wash and interviewed 4 other drivers. Bill said, "My truck has to be perfect. I'm going on a date this evening." Jack said, "I'm going to meet my business partner at the airport. I want to leave a good impression." Lily said, "Honestly, I don't need to have my car washed. I just stopped here to visit the restroom." Ryan said, "My boss gave me this coupon so that I could wash my car for free." Who stained Henry and Mia's car? Lily. Her right hand is stained with the paint of the same color, and besides, she has a print of Mia's face on her t-shirt. She's definitely obsessed with her. The guys washed their car and continued on their journey. They had to choose one of these 3 roads to reach their destination. The first one went through toxic swamps. People often get lost in that area. The second path went near a river with creepy sirens. Their singing made everyone jump into the water. And a band of angry robbers was waiting on the third road. Which way should the guys opt for? The second one. They can close all the windows, turn some music on, and drive past the sirens very fast. Mia suggested visiting the farmer's market to buy some fresh produce for their romantic weekend. When they entered the marketplace, 3 sellers offered them apples, but only one deal was safe enough. Can you help the guys make the right choice? Seller number 1 offers very old apples. Take a look at the date on the box. They expired 5 years ago. Seller number 3 offers very beautiful apples. But pay attention to his assistant. She's putting shoe polish on the apples to make them look better. So, Mia and Henry should pick the second seller. Henry and Mia left the market and put all their purchases into the car. Suddenly, Henry realized that he'd left a bag with cabbage at the farmer's stall. He returned but couldn't find the bag. Henry questioned 3 people he saw nearby. Vera said, "I only eat fruit, mister. See, I've got bananas and apples." Bella said, "Yes, I saw your bag. The seller put the cabbage back on the shelf." And the seller said, "I don't know what's going on here. I spent the last 10 minutes in the bathroom." Who's lying? Vera. She hid the cabbage under her elegant hat. Finally, the guys reached their destination. The treehouse is even better than in the photo, but can you spot anything weird in this picture? This raccoon is wearing sunglasses. The owner of the treehouse, Bob, lives in another country, and the house is located 15 miles away from the village and other people. That's why Bob installed a special digital clock on the door. When Henry booked the property, Bob gave him a 6-digit password. But unfortunately, Henry had lost it. Here's a hint. M80. Can you help the guy crack the code? These symbols are mirrored digits. Split them apart and you'll get the code 1133CC. The guys unlocked the door. But as soon as Mia entered the living room, she got very scared. She asked Henry to call the police. Why? The treehouse is in the middle of nowhere. Who lit the candles and the fire? The house was locked. Henry checked all the rooms, but found no clues. What about you? Any ideas who that could be? That roof window is open. Someone crawled inside the house before the guy's arrival, and now that someone is hiding under the bed. See? The guys called the police. Officers promised to arrive within an hour. Mia decided to take a shower. When she returned to the living room, she realized that Henry had disappeared. Mia searched the garden, then checked all the rooms in the house, and returned to the garden again. But she failed to find any clues. Can you help her? The hot tub was open when Mia began her search, but now it's closed. Pretty suspicious. Mia was walking through the garden. Suddenly, a man in a mask popped out of nowhere and pushed her. Mia stepped on a trap and fell into a deep well. She yelled, "Please help me out!" No one answered, but Mia's phone pinged. The masked man offered her to play a game. Otherwise, she'd have to stay in the well forever. Here's the first riddle. I come in many different colors, and I get bigger when I'm full. I will float away if you don't tie me down, and I will make a loud sound if I break. What am I? Mia nailed it immediately. What about you? The correct answer is a balloon. Here's the second question. I can jump and I can climb. With many legs, I swing from tree to tree. I can make a house much bigger than me. What am I? Have you guessed? It's a spider. And the final question. I come out at night without being called. I'm lost in the day without being stolen. What am I? Can you help Mia? The correct answer is a star. A hatch opened at the bottom of the well. Mia went through it and got into a creepy basement. There, she found 3 ways to freedom, but every door hid some danger. A fire-breathing dragon was sleeping behind the first door. The corridor behind the second door was filled with high-voltage wires. And a vampire was waiting behind the third door. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen of the girl's phone. Hurry up! Soon the walls will close in and smash you. Which way should Mia choose? She should wait until the walls are close enough so that she can scare the vampires away with this stake and go through the third door. When the police arrived at the treehouse, they found Mia and Henry at the porch. Henry had just woken up. The robbers had put sleeping pills in his coffee. The officers searched the area and found some clues. They concluded that the criminals were planning to leave the country by train. Unfortunately, no one knew what they looked like or how big the group was, so they stopped 4 suspicious people at the railway station and examined their baggage. Can you figure out who's innocent? Why would a bald man need shampoo? And this supposedly blind person has a flashlight. This guy is carrying 3 tubes of toothpaste, but no single toothbrush. It seems that only the third guy isn't a criminal. 3 friends lived not far from one another and often met to drink some coffee together. Their names were Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, and Mr. White. One day, they noticed that under their coats, they were wearing t-shirts of different colors: red, blue, and white. Mr. Blue said, "Hey, Mr. White, have you noticed that we're all wearing colors that are different from our actual names?" The man wearing the white shirt answered, "Wow, you're right." Can you figure out the shirt of which color each of them was wearing? Mr. Blue can only be wearing white or red, but we've already learned that someone else is wearing the white shirt. That means that Mr. Blue can only be wearing the red shirt, and Mr. White can only be wearing a blue or red shirt. And the red shirt is already taken, so Mr. White is wearing the blue shirt. Then Mr. Red is wearing the white shirt. Mia and Henry decided to spend the night in a hotel nearby. The manager said that they only had 3 free rooms. Can you help the guys choose the best option? This room doesn't have any doors. That's weird. And this room has a cracked mirror on the ceiling. It's too risky. The second option looks pretty safe and nice. The guys checked in, and Henry asked Mia, "Well, where do you want to go now?" She answered with this riddle. "You used to visit me when you needed to know, but I've been lonely since the internet was born. What am I?" Have you guessed? The correct answer is a library. In the library, the guys met these 4 students. One of them is broke. Can you guess who? Student number 3. Her uniform is too large for her body. It must have belonged to her sister.
The other day, Mike had a dentist appointment. When he came to the dentist's office, he saw 2 doors leading to the rooms. The administrator was away, so Mike decided to find the right room himself. He opened the right door first, and then he checked the left room too. Where was the real dentist? The real dentist was behind the left door. Look, The dentist stands over the chair and holds a dental instrument in his hands. In the chair, there's a teenager who's having his teeth professionally cleaned. But behind the right door, the dentist is holding a tattooing machine. A teen in that room is looking at him with suspicion. Jennifer was exploring some spooky old house, looking for fancy antique things. Some hours later, she got tired and decided to have a quick lunch, which she had packed in the morning. She went to the dining room with a large table and 3 chairs, lit the candles, and was about to take a seat. But all of a sudden, she spotted something weird about most of the chairs in that room. What chair should Jennifer sit on? Jennifer was super attentive. That's why she sat on the chair in the middle. The one on the left has a sharp nail sticking out, and the one on the right is already taken. Look, there's a ghost sitting on it. Stuart was taking the final cooking exam. He has always wanted to be a chef, and he was about to take one step closer to his dream. The professor said the one who answered all his questions would get the certificate with honors and the money prize of $10,000. The most important thing is that this person will also be offered a sous chef position at one of the most prestigious restaurants in Paris. All the students answered 19 questions, and the professor read the last and the most complicated one. What product will never be salty when you boil it, no matter how much salt you add? 2 days later, Stuart was on his way to Paris. He was the only one to know the answer. What product was the professor talking about? It's an egg in the shell. No matter how much salt there is in the water, the boiled egg won't be salty. Fiona left her husband a shopping list for him to go to the supermarket. These guys are really into riddles, so the list was full of them. Fiona wanted Mark to buy something that has eyes but can't see, something that has ears but can't hear, and the wealthiest nuts. What did Fiona want Mark to buy? Fiona needed some potatoes, corn, and cashews. Jenny was locked in a room with 15 other people. Each of them could see the entire room and all the people inside without turning their head or body or moving in any other way. To get out of the room, Jenny had to place an orange in such a way that everyone but one person could see it. The girl managed to do it. But how? She put the orange on one person's head. A notorious bad guy caught wealthy businessman Brian and locked him in a room. "I won't let you go until you double the money I'll leave for you." And the criminal put $5,000 on the table. By the time he returned, Brian had already doubled the money. He hadn't left the room or communicated with anyone. Then how did he do it? He put the money in front of the mirror. Early in the morning, Ashton got a call from his friend, an owner of a big company. The man was in distress. A very important contract had disappeared from his office. It had been on the desk the evening before, but nowhere to be found in the morning. Ashton immediately headed to the office to question the employees. In no time, he had 3 suspects. Ben said he had spent the previous evening at the movies. Mason had taken his girlfriend out to dinner, and Jesse had been invited to a party. It didn't take Liam long to understand who was lying. It was Ben. His ticket wasn't torn, so he didn't actually go to the movies. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone stole all the money from the office. A detective arrived for interrogation. A cook said that he was working hard and didn't have time to walk or gaze around, so he didn't see anything. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't steal anything. The waiter said he remembered seeing one visitor heading to the office. Somehow he ignored it and didn't stop them. The waiter got arrested for stealing the money. Why? The restaurant wasn't open yet. There could be no visitors. Blake was a writer applying for a job in a fashion magazine. However, the boss was a whimsical woman. Blake did the interview well. But still, the woman didn't want to hire her because Blake was too young. The boss poured some water into a glass and asked Blake to get her some apple juice to fail her. However, there were two conditions. She wanted the water in the glass, but didn't want it to mix with the juice. Still, Blake figured out how to do it and got the job. How? She just put the glass in the freezer and waited till the water got frozen, then she poured the juice on top of it. Della was having a birthday party. She invited 3 people over and got 3 presents, a pair of heels, a bag of makeup, and golden earrings. However, Eloise didn't like one of the presents. Can you guess which one and why? She didn't like the golden earrings just because she couldn't wear them. Her ears aren't pierced. Well, maybe she will consider piercing them. Jason is making pizza for his family, and Savannah went outside to make some grilled vegetables. Which one of them does something wrong? Jason. He forgot to turn on the oven. James was a famous detective who could crack even the hardest cases. Once, he was investigating a case and found some crucial evidence. The next morning, he woke up in a well. It was old, deep, but luckily not filled with water, but quite dusty. On the flip side, there was no way he could get out to the surface. Suddenly, James saw his main suspect's face at the top of the well. "You won't live long enough to rat me out," the man shouted. And then, the detective felt soil falling on his head. The bad guy was going to bury him alive. But in an hour, James was already out of the well and running away. How did he manage to get out? The detective started to shake off and tamp down the soil that was falling into the well. He was getting closer and closer to the surface until he managed to jump out and run away. Jane was walking home late. She was pretty tired, so she decided to take a bus. It was midnight, but the bus was packed with people. You get a gut feeling later that there's something wrong with some of these people. Who's a zombie? There are 20 people on the bus. There are 2 zombies among them. A man on the right has a bit of a bandage on his arm, and the woman next to the window seems to be groaning all the time. All the people in town thought Jack wasn't smart enough. Every time somebody offered him a 50C coin or a $1 bill, he would always choose the 50C coin. Many people every day would offer him to do it, but he never grabbed the bill. Why was Jack smart? Jack was actually pretty smart because he would get money without doing anything. As long as he agreed to get less money for no reason, people would come and try his trick again and again. See that car? Jack's been refusing $1 bills for over 10 years now, so he saved up enough money to get a car. You find yourself in a photo gallery. After looking at the wall, you realize that one of the pictures doesn't belong. You see a raccoon, a llama, a football, and a balloon. Can you tell which is the odd one out? You have 7 seconds to guess. It's the llama picture. The other 3 objects have 2 double letters in their names, but the llama only has 1 double. And trust me, don't get too close to the llama. They might spit in your face. It's not fun. You have 3 matches. Can you make a 6 out of them without breaking them into pieces? Who said the number 5 has to be a standard 6? The match is made a perfect Roman numeral 3 right from the get-go. So all you have to do is bring the bottoms of the first 2 matches toward each other, and you've got a Roman numeral 6. It's your first day in the new office. Some colleagues don't seem really friendly, and you can't understand why. They also act strange, never have coffee breaks, and work at least 12 hours a day. A secretary at the reception desk, Lauren, tells that their company hires robots sometimes because they work harder than people and aren't addicted to coffee. She also says to stay away from them and try not to talk to them or even greet them. because they can be unpredictable sometimes. It's quite easy to tell who's a robot. Can you guess who's a robot among these three people? Anna, Mike, and Lucy? It's Mike. He's the only one among three people who have a switch on the right.
Kitty entered a bookstore to get some art supplies. At one point, she met an elf and accidentally stepped on his foot. Ow! The elf got very angry and teleported her to his fairy world. He said, "I'm Noah. Welcome to my world, you ill-mannered lady. If you can solve all my riddles, I'll help you find your way home. But if you don't, you'll turn into a tree and stay in this enchanted forest forever." So here comes the first riddle. Jen and Dobby have 4 daughters, and each of the daughters also has a brother. How many people are there in the family? Kitty cracked this riddle easily. What about you? The correct answer is 7. Noah took Kitty to the elf village. There they met Mr. Raspberry. He was very upset. Someone had stolen all berries from his trees. Noah suggested Kitty should find the thief. She questioned 4 suspects. Alice said, "I'm allergic to berries and stay away from them." Mia said that she'd been busy all morning helping her granny pick apples in her garden. Javier confessed that he had been on a secret date. He refused to reveal the name of his girlfriend. And Fiona said, "Are you kidding? I love my manicure too much to spoil it by picking berries." So, who's the thief? Alice. She's eating strawberry ice cream, which means she lied about her allergy. Next, Noah took Kitty for a walk through a magic field. There are 50 cows in this field and 28 chickens. How many didn't? Kitty figured this riddle out immediately. What about you? The correct answer is 30. It's a play on words. 20 cows ate chickens, which means that 30 cows didn't. The guy's next stop was a jewelry store. The local jeweler, Jonas, had just finished making a beautiful diamond necklace. He put it on the window so that everyone could admire his masterpiece and left for lunch. But when he returned, the necklace was gone. Surprise, surprise. Kitty questioned 3 suspects. The jeweler's assistant, David, said, "I was cleaning silver in the next room and didn't hear anyone enter the store." Billy, who owned a chocolate store 1 floor below, said, "I've spent the entire day with my wife. We've been celebrating our 15th anniversary." And Nina, the cleaning lady, said, "I've been cleaning the roof and singing when the crime happened. I didn't hear anything." Who's the thief? Billy. Look at his selfie with his wife. She's wearing the stolen necklace. Okay, but how did he steal it? He has a book, Magic Portals, on the shelf in his store. A postman found an elderly stargazer, Mr. Green, unconscious on the floor in his own house. Kitty questioned the key suspect, Mike. He was the only person who had been seen near Mr. Green's house the day before. Kitty asked him what he had been doing the previous night. Mike replied, "I spent the whole evening helping my friend to build a house. We finished late at night. I was passing by Mr. Green's house on my way home. I looked into the window and saw him lying on the floor. I was shocked and called the police." Kitty inspected the house and told the officer to arrest Mike. Why? Mr. Green was found on the ground floor, but his house doesn't have any ground floor windows, which means Mike couldn't see anything through the window. Noah took Kitty to his garden. He said that elf gardens were a little different compared to human ones. Kitty noticed 5 weird details right away. Can you see them too? It's snowing, but the flowers are blooming. The trees don't cast any shadows, but Kitty does. The rainbow in the sky is upside down. All squirrels are wearing suits. They usually don't do that in human forests. And this butterfly is talking on the phone. Noah invited Kitty for dinner, but they gotta cook it first. He gave Kitty an old recipe and said she could find all the ingredients in the garden. But the recipe is coded with the help of these symbols. Can you help Kitty find all the ingredients? Here comes the first one. It's a potato, and it's hiding over here. Here's the second ingredient. Olives. They're growing over there. What about this puzzle? Any ideas? Cabbage. It's over there. Can you recognize this one? Coconut. Here it is. The next one. Can you crack it? Pineapple. Great job. What about this puzzle? It's a carrot. And since it's an elf's garden, carrots are growing on trees. Can you crack this code? It's a peach, and Kitty can get it over there. Here comes the next ingredient. Any ideas? Pepper. It's over there. And last but not least, can you crack it? Broccoli. Great job. There's only one broccoli head in this garden, and it's hiding over there. After a delicious dinner, Noah offered Kitty to choose a guest room. He gave her 3 options, but only one of them was safe. Option number 1, a soft bed in the attic. Here's the second option, a cozy sofa in the basement. And the third option is a hammock on an open balcony. Unfortunately, mutant mosquitoes arrive every night. Their poison is safe for elves, but not for humans. Which room should Kitty choose? Springs stick out of the first bed. That doesn't look safe. And the sofa is full of bed bugs. Probably not the best company for a sleepover. So Kitty should choose the hammock. She can use this mosquito net to hide from the annoying insects. Next morning, Noah had an appointment. He offered Kitty to meet later in a fancy elf cafe. 4 waiters welcomed her when she arrived there, but one of them was fake. Can you guess who? See, this guy is a criminal. Noah was late, so Kitty ordered breakfast without him and went to the bathroom. The girl left her bag and her wallet on the table. Don't ask me why. When she came back, Noah was sitting at the table. Her food had arrived and her bag was still there, but the money was missing from her wallet. The restaurant security found 3 suspects. Noah said that he had just arrived. He hadn't seen anything suspicious. The waitress said, "I brought the food, but I didn't touch the wallet." The cleaner said that she'd wiped the table but hadn't touched the wallet. The guard found some fingerprints on the wallet, but they all belonged to Kitty. So, who stole the money? The cleaner. She had her gloves on. That's why she didn't leave any fingerprints. Kitty didn't have any elf money, so Noah offered to pay for her meal. But first, She had to crack this riddle. What begins with T, ends with T, and has T in it? Kitty solved this puzzle easily. What about you? The correct answer is a teapot. Kitty found a beautiful diamond tiara on the sink in the ladies' room while she was washing her hands. 3 elves showed up to claim it. Jim said, "This tiara belongs to my mother. We've been passing it on from generation to generation for ages. I noticed that it was gone after visiting the bathroom." Fiona said that she had won this tiara in a beauty contest. She even showed Kitty a picture. Jessica said, "If this tiara is missing one small emerald, then it's mine. I lost the gem at a party last summer." Kitty gave the tiara to Jessica. Why? Well, Jim wouldn't have been allowed in the ladies' room. The stones in Fiona's tiara are blue, not green, and Jessica was the only one who knew about the defect. Kitty entered an elf gift store to get some souvenirs for her family. 3 magic creatures entered the store after her. Everything was fine until, suddenly, Kitty heard a loud scream. She turned around and saw an elf lying face down on the table. She quickly called the police and reported the incident. An officer arrived and asked the other 3 customers what they'd been doing when they heard the scream. The goblin said, "I was picking out postcards from the front display." The mermaid was chasing the perfect souvenir mug. She dropped it when she screamed. The pieces were still on the floor, and the wizard said, "I was checking my horoscope on my phone. I'm a Venus by zodiac, you know. My astrologist promised that today would be the most peaceful day of my life." Yeah, right. Can you help Kitty find the criminal? It's the wizard. Venus isn't an astrological sign. The police arrested the wizard. He got so mad at Kitty that he turned her into a frog. Noah tried all the spells from his books, but nothing helped. So he took Kitty to the jail to beg for the wizard's help. There, Noah saw 2 prisoners. He knew for sure that only one of them would manage to escape. Who? The second one. He has a spoon without a handle. He must have used it to make a knife to open the door. The wizard agreed to lift his spell, but he had one condition. The guys had to crack his riddle. How many months of the year have 28 days? Can you help Kitty out? The correct answer is all of them. Noah took Kitty to the local magic store. Kitty asked him what he wanted to buy. Noah answered this way, "It's tall when it's young, and it's short when it's old." What is it? Have you guessed? It's a candle. Noah lit the candle and prepared to send Kitty back to the human world. But he had one last riddle for her. Kitty had to say a secret number code to get home. Here's a hint. The code contains 3 positive numbers. You can either add these numbers or multiply them. The result will be the same. What are these numbers? The correct answer is 1, 2, and 3. Great job!